I had planned today to come and talk to you about sustainability, solutions, and what was being discussed at COP26. However, in my former life, I used to work in sailing, and quite frankly, that felt like a much safer subject, so I thought I would start there. I used to work for a round-the-world yacht race that challenged everyday people to do something extraordinary, to sail an ocean, to circumnavigate the globe. I had the fabulous job of helping prep folk for the journey and waving them off from the dock. A couple of hundred excited everyday humans. Some had lots of experience, some just the training required. They were a mixed group from over 40 nationalities, from 18 to 88, and everyone from wealthy bankers to teenagers from townships to single parents. They'd be prepped with everything they needed to know for the race. It would be amazing. It would be more than they could possibly imagine. But at times, it would also be hard work, boring, and also potentially very scary. They'd also require a kind of teamwork that was rarely needed in their everyday lives, and it would question traditional seniority and hierarchy. Every role would be important, but it wasn't uncommon for a CEO with years of experience leading teams to be taking direct orders from a 19-year-old watch leader. They needed to learn to lose the ego and to understand that problem solving and solutions could come from anywhere. And then we had the weather, just to make it exciting. We had big seas, big storms, all the wind, no wind. Happens, sun, rain, wind, and shine. Everything would be thrown at these crews because, as it turns out, Mother Nature doesn't know that you're an amateur. They'd also learn quite quickly that resources on board a racing yacht are limited, and it was incredibly important to know what you had, what you needed, what was left, and what was wasted. But it was also important who you navigated this challenge with and the relationships that you built along the way. For me, one of the best parts was once they completed their challenge. It was the pride and the stories that they came back with of crossing oceans. And the changes, some were physical. There were some interesting beards and hairstyles, an undeniable quest across the board for an ice-cold beer, and occasionally a hamburger. But more than that, it was the emotional and behavioural changes. And every single one came back with a new appreciation of the world that we live in and the impact that we have upon it. So roll on a few years, and I find myself working in sustainability, and maybe unsurprisingly, as it turns out, it's actually quite similar. I meet people and businesses that want to take on a challenge, and they talk about all of the same issues. They talk about the fact that resources are finite. And for example, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization have predicted that by 2025, 1.8 billion people are going to be living in areas or regions of absolute water scarcity. We even have a date in the diary for it, Earth Overshoot Day. The day we celebrate or mark the day that we as humans consume more of the Earth's natural resources than it can cope with. And they talk about extreme weather. 14 of the hottest years have been in the last 20. At any given time, 10 million people in South Asia are displaced due to climate-related events. Or to bring it closer to home, the UK government currently spends 2.6 billion on flood defences in the UK. They also talk about being scared. Scared of doing something, scared of doing nothing at all, scared of how much hard work it will be and who they're going to do it with. But like those crews, they are keen, eager, and ready to take on a challenge. And so I start with a very similar conversation. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to do great things. I can't promise that it won't be hard work and at times be quite boring. It's going to require an immense amount of teamwork across your communities, businesses, across countries and governments. And it may also question traditional seniority and hierarchy. Oh. So I'll share with them the three things, I'll share with you the same things that I share with them. Number one, it's all about your crew. Every individual will be important, but they must play their role. It's going to be the combination of all our efforts that get us moving forward the fastest. For some, it's just going to be about winning, but the majority are in it for do great things. We need to bring everyone with us, not just the experienced and the wealthy, but the inclusion is key and diversity of thought is fundamental. We need to not know just how to solve the problems, but also what they are in the first place. Number 2, balance is key. Sustainability is so often simplified into single issues, going vegan, driving electric, cutting out carbon. And the race to net zero is hugely important. However, the UK contributes 0.95% of the global emissions. In comparison, China, the US, Russia, and India contribute over 50%. Even if as a country we smash our goals, how do we make sure that we are not just scratching the surface and that we're really making a difference? For me, it's about balance. It's about understanding that the needs of the very many are not currently being met. And the same solutions and actions that we take towards poverty, hunger, social injustice, wealth distribution, inclusivity, must be the same actions and solutions that we take towards environmental issues and climate change. We might need to find out that there are trade-offs required. Supporting global trade, fair trade, may mean a higher carbon footprint. Ensuring social justice and good working and pay conditions for those people that make the products that we need and buy may mean that the economics of it all change. It may affect your local community. If we want to level up in the UK, you might be asked to support the energy-intensive steel industry in the north. Or if you want to support girls' education in developing countries, it may mean buying green beans from fair trade suppliers and maybe a higher carbon footprint. But if we can understand what these compromises are and the consequences both to us as individuals and as businesses, communities, then we can all do the best within the confines of our means, and the aggregate good that we can achieve between us is going to be greater than we can currently imagine. Number 3, incentivize ambition. We have got to incentivize ambition and celebrate achievement. We also need to measure and communicate the social, ethical, and environmental impact of our actions beyond carbon footprinting. We've got so very fond of measuring what is easy and a lot less keen on measuring what we value. If we can bring all of this into our everyday decisions, then we start to have global reach. The companies we support, the standards we expect, how we vote, if we vote, all of these habits turn into actions, and these actions create trends. Those trends create markets, and what is swiftly followed from there are business opportunities and solutions. What we do brilliantly in the UK is innovate and scale. We grab good ideas and we run with them. The truth is, it's simpler than all of us are making it. And as a mum of 2, I was discussing with my children the fact that I would be here today talking to you all, and they asked if they could help contribute to the talk. They actually asked if they could write the entire talk, but we compromised on a contribution. And they went away and they had a good think about what it is that they would do to solve our current crisis. And they came back with 5 solutions. And those 5 solutions were: don't drive, don't fly, don't eat red meat, don't heat your homes, and please plant trees. Which was a good start, but I think we can all agree that that's quite a lot to take on. And never to be outdone, one little voice piped up from the background that they were all a little bit negative. And so they went away, they had a really good think about what it is that they wanted to do, and they came up with the following. No, I cannot deliver this and how they did, and with nowhere near amount the same of flair, but I would like to share it with you all today. Take a walk or ride a bike. Eat all the veggies that you like. If you're cold, put on a coat. If you want some milk, make sure it's oat. Don't buy stuff that you don't need, and don't buy stuff that you just seed. Ban all the chemicals that kill all of the bees. But most of all, please plant trees. They finished with jazz hands. I'm not going to do that. The problem isn't that we don't know what to do. The problem is that we aren't doing it. I'm sure we all now know the story of carbon footprinting and how it became part of our everyday language and how it became a useful measurement. It was originally a very clever marketing firm working with a very particular fossil fuel company that wanted to shift the emphasis from them onto us as individuals. And as we now know, we use it as individuals, as businesses, as countries. But what it doesn't measure that we really need to take into account: where we work, what we talk about at the dining room table, how we vote, are dedicated following a fast fashion. So have a think. What makes up your social footprint? Do you think about what you buy, where it's from, and who sold it to you? Is the food that you eat grown in a regenerative system? Is the welfare of the animals considered? Is the welfare of the humans preparing it considered? Eat well and you'll eat healthier, but those foods that are good for you are probably good for the planet as well. When you travel, could you have walked, cycled, or taken public transport? I still believe, like those crews that had those massive changes when they crossed oceans, that to really appreciate the world, that we need to see it. However, maybe don't jump on those low-cost, reduced-tax domestic flights too soon. The truth is, becoming sustainable isn't complex. I can't pretend to you that it will be easy, that it won't be a challenge, and that you won't need to change your behaviours. But we all know that it's a worthwhile endeavour. So I'd like to leave you all here today with the same thing that we used to tell the crews before they set off. Take on this challenge. There will be at times big weather, extreme weather, no wind, all the wind. There will be some emotion, sometimes fear, sometimes exhilaration, sometimes boredom. And there will need to be teamwork. Some of those CEOs, well, they're going to need to take direction from the next generation, but it's probably going to be to the benefit of all of us. But we are going on this journey, and it is going to make us love this incredible planet that we all live on. So together, we can all do this. Thank you.